or thereabout issues that we need to also clear ourselves about relating to the management of affairs at the central bank. When you last appeared, we did ask you a question about constituting the management and board of Bank of Uganda. We issued a report with recommendation that became a resolution of Parliament regarding the appointment of the governor, which I know is not your duty to appoint, but you advise the appointing authority. Ordinarily, in a Treasury memorandum, you will be writing and informing us through the Ministry of Finance that since you issued that report with the resolution of Parliament, this is the progress. Where is the governor bound of Uganda? That's question number one. And we're not talking about governor as the head of management. We're also talking about governor. Who is the chairman of the board? The Constitution provides the authority of the bank shall vest in a board which shall constitute or consist of a governor, deputy governor, and not more than 5 other members. Before you talk about other members who are not here, I want to see one. Where is the chairman of the board? In other words, without the chairman of the board, in who is the authority vested? You know, visitors always advise and say, sir, where is the person I deputize? But now we're not deputizing anyone, we're deputizing yourself. Are you acting governor? Yes.
I'm deputy governor. No deputy governor. Chair, you are raising constitutional issues.
Yes.
For which I'm not very competent to answer. I have Director Davis here, who is much more competent on matters of the Constitution and the law. So, if you don't mind, can I ask him to respond to these questions?
I actually don't mind. Mr. Dida Synchronization. So, who is the chair of your board?
Thank you, Chairperson. That is a very pertinent question and which has exercised our minds at least since I joined the board in 2023. As you are aware, the members of the board of Bank of Uganda are appointed by the appointing authority, those with approval of Parliament. The President of the Republic of Uganda. And the board, according to the Constitution, as you correctly point out, consists of the governor, deputy governor, and 5 members of the board. Now, when this matter exercised our minds for quite some time, we looked at the Constitution and we noted that under Article 161(1), the Bank of Uganda is an authority. It is the only authority issued by the citizen. So we then took comfort in Article 251(2) of the Constitution. So it told us, subject to the provisions of this Constitution, any decision of any commission or authority established by this Constitution shall require the concurrence of a majority what is members. And it may act notwithstanding the absence of any member or any vacancy in the office of member. On reading this, we understood it to mean that where there may be a vacancy in the board of the Bank of Ghana, as it is supposed to be constituted, then this article, this framework of the Constitution recognizes that there could be a situation where there is a vacancy in some offices. It's 251. So 51. And we follow that up with Article 57, Sub-Article 10. B. Words in the singular include the plural, and words in the plural include the singular.
251.10.
257.
257.10.
10. B. It's in the interpretation section. So
yeah.
It says that words in the singular include the plural, and words in the plural include the singular. So when I went back to 251.2, and it talks of a vacancy in the office of a member, I understood this to be telling me that vacancy also means vacancies. So we believe that the Constitution made provisions for situations where, for whatever reason, there may be a vacancy in the constitution of a body. That is as far as the Constitution is concerned. The Interpretation Act also has similar
Deputy
provisions.
Governor, when did Professor Mtebile die?
It's late January 20.
Yeah, be on record.
Late January 2022.
January 2022.
Yeah.
So he's making a third year in January. In other words, 1 month from today, Bank of Uganda will not have a governor for 3 years. Of course, what I'm going to say, Mr. Nkurunziza, with immense respect, is that you know that what you are telling me or telling us and the country is not entirely correct. When they say a fraction of the majority, I mean a fraction of the membership, they refer to the entire membership constituted. Then you can only talk about majority as a fraction of the entirety.
Honorable Chair, as you know, and from where you and I come from, these are matters we can argue back and forth. And eventually, when we don't agree, it would have to be.
Mr. Nkurunziza, you and I know that you were counsel in the matter of the Honorable Sam Kahamba Kutesa.
Correct.
The Honorable Nasasira.
Correct.
And the Honorable Mwesigwa Rukutana. Regarding the composition, actually the word used is constitution of the Inspectorate of Government. What did the Constitutional Court say?
Chair, you're correct. I was lead counsel for Honorable Sam Kutesa. In fact, I and the late Dr. Biam Gisha and other counsel are the ones who crafted that argument which the Constitutional Court eventually accepted.
Were you right?
I'm coming to that.
No, were you right?
I was right.
Okay.
And what was that case about? That case was the interpretation of Article 230 of the Constitution. And that is about special powers of the Inspectorate. Now, when you look at that special powers of the Inspectorate, you will come back to Article 25212, and you'll see that it begins subject to the provisions of this Constitution. Article 230 is one such provision to which 2512 is subject. The Constitutional Court,
and I have a copy of the judgment here, was specifically looking into that article. And that article talks about the Inspectorate of Government having specific special powers to carry out given by the Constitution. And it is on that basis that the Constitutional Court was able to conclude, fortunately in my client's favor, that since the Inspectorate at that time only had a Deputy Inspector General, there was no Inspector General of Government, and a second Deputy Inspector General was not, the offices were vacant. The Constitutional Court held that therefore, because of breach of Article 230, the prosecution, or the decision to prosecute and take quasi-judicial powers by the sole Deputy Inspector General was inconsistent with the Constitution.
The ratio is about constitution and composition.
The case was about 230 of the Constitution, and that is a standalone because of what 251(2) says, subject to the provisions of this Constitution. Otherwise, were it not for the fact that 230 was specifically about the Inspectorate of Government, then 251(2) would have applied, and the prosecution of those three ministers would have been valid.
So in 2023, you are appointed a member of the board.
Yes.
And you're not bothered that while you are being appointed by the same appointing authority, the same appointing authority cannot appoint a chair of your board.
First of all,
it doesn't bother you.
First of all, I have never thought or held the position that the appointing authority cannot make an appointment. He can. The Constitution empowers him to do so. Why he has not done so, that is not for me to speculate upon. My appointment to the board was for the purpose of coming to
constituting the board.
I do not constitute it by myself. So it is up to the appointing authority and his advisors to decide at what point they want to appoint X, Y, and Z. Now, fortunately, thankfully, I was appointed and I have been doing my best to serve. And this was the very first question that exercised my mind, and my deputy governor will confirm it that I have talked about it on many occasions, trying to make sure that what we are doing...
Have you ever raised it in your board meetings?
It has never been on the agenda. It has never been on the agenda.
So where do you raise it from? Where informal meetings with the deputy?
Here and there.
On your WhatsApp group?
No, we don't have a WhatsApp group, at least not with me.
You're not on WhatsApp, I know you are.
I am on WhatsApp, but there's no group of where the deputy governor and myself are members.
Okay. Yeah.
Kurunziza, our senior, you should be a jurist somewhere up there, I know, to help us resolve some of these issues. I think the point the chair is raising, the key word is just one. Do you have a board? And then what constitutes a board under Article 161? And I'll rest my case. It's very clear under sub-article 2, shall vest in a board, shall, keyword and highlighted, shall vest in a board, again you highlight that and put it 2 on top, which shall consist, shall, 3 on top, highlight, shall consist of a governor, a deputy governor, and not more than 5 other members. So, for a board to be constituted, because you are talking about we have been sitting as a board, you've not been sitting as a board, you've been sitting as members of the board, but you don't have authority because the authority is vested in a board which shall, 2 shalls in one article of a governor as an office, not as an individual. So without the governor, without the deputy governor, without at least one member, you have no board. So when you sit and go under the Act to transact business, which vest and delegate powers to the different officers, including the deputy governor, there must be a board, shall board, constituted by a governor. So at that level, you stop at that. You don't have to go to now other legislation, competence, appointments unless there's a board constituted under under Article 161(2).
Chair, may I?
Do you have any other member?
Thank you, Chair. Chair, of course, I was waiting for a positive answer from the senior legal officer when you asked, has this issue ever surfaced? And when he said, of course, no. I don't know what to say from there. But I thought that this is a very critical matter that at least that could have been placed on the agenda and discussed in their board meetings. Because one of the public issues, BOU is one of those critical institutions that play a very pivotal role in our country. So when they hear that the governor is not there for almost now coming to 3 years, and you, the existing administration, is not concerned, put yourself in our shoes. Because everyone, those people can't reach where you are. They come to us and say, why is it that for all this period we don't have a governor? And yet we would think you people who understand the role of a governor, you would be the first people to raise this before the president, to say, Mr. President, we need this person as a team. But if you find it low as it is and you are not concerned, then Mr. Chairman, should I borrow the word disappointed?
No, you don't have to be disappointed. They don't appoint. I only wanted to hear from them the effort taken to remind the appointing authority. I know that he needs to be reminded. That I know for a fact. I know that he needs to be advised. That one I also know for a fact. I also imagine not that there is this vacancy. At least at the point of appointing board members, you cannot forget to whisper, by the way, sir, you have appointed these board members, but there is no chairman of the board. Maybe you enjoying the comfort of his absence. And I'm not judgmental. I'm sure, Deputy Governor, you know that I'm not judgmental. But I'm speculating, maybe you're comfortable. That's why you cannot remind the person who cannot remember. Deputy Chair.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, my question goes to the Deputy Governor. Your term of in April 2025. So are you comfortable to still be appointed and serve in two positions, because you are deputizing yourself and your term of office is expiring next year? So are you comfortable and are you ready to still occupy those two offices?
I think, to be fair to him, he said he does not occupy the office of governor. So I think he sends some people to go and clean it and keep it for whoever will come. On the question of reappointment, first of all, does he know he will be appointed? If they have refused to appoint his boss, maybe we shall have no governor, no deputy governor. This country has run without a chief justice, at some point without both chief justice and deputy chief justice. You remember when the expired chief justice appointed someone chief justice in expiry, there was a constitutional case which came out of Parliament here. So I want to save him that question, because it would be speculative. In fact, it is more certain that there will be no appointment than that there will be an appointment, because it is a prerogative. How it is exercised is a different matter. I would imagine he's still energetic, he's still sound. If an accident happens and he's appointed, Because now appointments are by accident. Not appointing is the new normal. So he will not answer that question. Honorable Itungo.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As I raise another issue. Chair, in one of the documents submitted, it is not paged. But Chair, I hope the governor now can see. Chair, this says the Bank of Uganda Board of Directors. And when you look at the members of the Board of Directors, even the bank secretary is indicated there as one of the members of the Board of Directors. So I want to know whether the bank secretary is a member of the board. Remember the article we are reading, 161, talks about 7 members. And Chair, when you count these people here, there are 7, including the bank secretary. But in the same document, there is no governor. And we are questioning the issue of the composition of the board.
If he had been there,
so if the governor would be there, there would be 8 now. That is question number 1, Mr. Chairman.
Maybe the question of numerics is sorted by an additional person.
So this is the first issue.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman.
And the next?
Now, the next is Chair. Now, when you read the article where we want to define the governor who is supposed to be the chairperson of the board. Now, if they use their word in the absence, now in the absence of the governor, it means that the deputy governor is the governor and at the same time the chairperson. So it means is one person running 4 offices.
Is 1 and 2.
4. The office of the chairperson, the office of the deputy chairperson, the office of the governor, and the office of the deputy governor. So we're going to have a question. How do you manage this?
You want to tell me you don't know that word?
Chair.
Honorable Mwadan Kunyenji.
Thank you, Chair. The deputy governor is almost a masquerader. Because if we are to look into functions of the bank, and Chair, I want to draw your attention to Article 162 of the Constitution, specifically paragraph 2, where the Constitution is very emphatic that even if we are to quote operations and functions of the bank, the Constitution says that in performing its functions, the Bank of Uganda shall conform to this Constitution. And the language of the Constitution is instructive that you must first conform to this Constitution. The language is very instructive. If I buttress Article 161, paragraph 4, the office of the governor, as per this Constitution, and deputy governor shall each be a public office. You can't deputize nothing. So each is a public office. And the governor shall be the chairperson. Now, we cannot live for ages where the deputy governor is masquerading as a governor, as a chairperson, when the Constitution was very deliberate.
Honorable Mwada, proceed with the question without the word masquerading. I do not find it fair.
I take your guidance, Chair.
It is expunged.
But he must also give us a better word. What he's now doing what? Because otherwise, Chair, my concern is if the board was to exist for a singular day without a governor, their first duty would be to fight that they conform with the Constitution. And that will involve seeking and advising whatever powers that may be to ensure that the board and the bank is regularized in this operation before they could proceed. Otherwise, what we see, the deputy governor is very comfortable without a governor, and probably it is his efforts that the bank is failing to secure a governor. It might be an internal and inside dealing that may jeopardize the whole country as Uganda.
Even on that one, we would be speculating, and it would be a false accusation. I think the right question would be to ask
this Constitution
that there is conformity, and the conformity relates, among others,
and who are you before us?
To Article 162. Who he is that he's the deputy governor. That one is undisputed. And I also want to see, deputy governor, there is something old men like me know, where you are the ugly face of the monster. It's an English phrase that for you carry a cross which is not yours. Sometimes you carry that cross because you have also not carried out your own small cross of telling somebody, sir, I'm deputizing nobody, so who am I? But let's summarize it decently. I understand where Honorable Nkunyi Mwada and the rest of the members, including myself, are coming from. That there is even a resolution of Parliament urging government. And when the Ministry of Finance writes to you to say, what do we state in the Treasury Memorandum? Your duty is to say, well, I have advised, we have relayed, because when we send you our resolution, it is your duty now to relay it. I hope on that one I'm not wrong. Sir, there is this resolution of Parliament. That is if Parliament means anything to you anyway. And he doesn't act. Then for you say, I did my work. With that, I think, is it not time for us to allow the governor, deputy governor, sorry, and his team to respond? Even when you disagree with them, receive their answer, whatever it's worth. I have the unfortunate duty today, Didas, to sit here and listen to you and make a judgment on what you are going to tell me. You know why I find that a difficult job. You and I know. But I'll listen to you. In conclusion, what do you have to say?
May I finish the legal parts? Valid points, yes. But we need to remember, Chair, and of course my colleagues from the bar, that the Constitution is one document, and we have been guided by the courts, the Supreme Court, that we have to read it as one. No article defeating the other. We must make it harmonious. So when we look at 161 and 2, yes, we know, as I said at the beginning, we seriously took that issue into consideration. It is a fact that there has been no substantive governor, but then we have to see.
The Constitution does not have anything called substantive.
Well, okay.
There has been no governor.
That is my word, yes, you're correct. There has been no governor in place. However, you cannot look at Article 161 and 162 in isolation of the article I referred to. We must see how to harmonize them and come to a workable solution. And the workable solution that we came to was that, yes, there's a vacancy in the position of a member of the board, but this Constitution tells us...
Is that a member? The Constitution does not refer to him as a member.
The governor is a member.
Chairman.
The governor is a member of the board.
No.
All 7 of them are members of the board.
No, he's the chairman.
I will take your
As we were here, did you hear us introduce ourselves?
Yes.
I did not introduce myself as a member of COSASE. I am the chairman.
Most obliged.
Now, this is chairmanship conferred by the Constitution. It's not even statutory. But anyway,
yes,
the point is received.
Yes, so my point was that we have to look at it as a whole. With regard to the Honorable...
So you're comfortable with the status quo?
We would love to have a governor. Yes, we would love to have a governor. But in the absence of...
yes, you don't close the bank.
You cannot close the bank.
That I agree. We're not going to close the bank.
Exactly.
It will continue.
We have to move along as best as we can. And we sought comfort in other provisions of the Constitution. And we leave it to your...
Actually, you did not receive comfort from the law. You only received the pretense.
My Honorable Chair, as Chair, I will accept that you have your views, but as I said earlier, when it comes to debate on legal provisions,
I am sure if this is the case you took to court, you would have the same arguments that I'm having today.
Well, we are lawyers, so we are supposed to be able to argue either side. If I was sitting there, probably I'd be arguing your side.
We only argue things that we believe.
Even more
in fact, arguing something you do not believe is professional misconduct.
I agree with you.
Under the regulations.
You see, when you convince yourself...
Deputy Governor...
I assure you that, look, the appointing authority knows there's no governor. So to insinuate that he does not know is not correct.
I did not say he doesn't know.
No, you're saying I should be reminding him that he's not governor.
I only said he has forgotten.
I don't think he has forgotten, because every time I talk to him, he calls me deputy governor.
Sure.
Yes.
So that one he remembers that you're deputy?
Yeah. Otherwise, he'll be calling me deputy governor.
And you're sure he knows you're not deputizing anyone? Or you're still deputizing the deceased?
No, look, I'm not going to speculate on that, Honorable Chair. All I know...
Why are you speculating that he knows?
Because he calls me deputy governor.
And you know why all of us are laughing? Okay, we will not crucify you for you.
Chair.
Yes,
but for Mr. Nkurunziza, we must crucify him, because as a director and a lawyer, he ought to know.
We are not there, Honorable Nkunyinya. No, listen. He has given us his opinion. And you know what the Supreme Court said in Andrew Mwenda and the Charles Onyango book? That an opinion is never right or wrong.
But Chair, as a body member,
you are seated.
His opinion is substantive.
Wait, listen, Honorable Nkunyinya. You are seated in a position where you will evaluate whether is faulty or not. I will disallow any judgment that is not subjected and research, and we shall make a comment on...
And the fitness to be on the board.
No, that one is not in the charge sheet.
Because his submission...
We cannot make a finding because of an opinion he has read. We would be atrocious. Okay, the Vice Chair insists your tenure expires in March, in April next year. And wants to know whether the process of appointment has been kicked off, fearing that we may find ourselves without a governor, without a deputy governor, and with Mr. Nkurunziza becoming acting chairperson of the board. Because there will be a crisis, and we cannot close Bank of Uganda. And yet when we appropriate money, we appropriate it to the authority called Bank of Uganda. And we have a few months to go. And while we would forgive somebody for not appointing a governor immediately after the death of Professor Mutebile, because nobody knew he was going to die. We are all praying that he lives and he continues serving us. May his soul rest in peace. With the end of your tenure, it is foreseeable. We do not want to go into firefighting mode. When eventually, you leave office, then you write a letter, 2 days later, a cheat to say, Margaret Kasule should be acting governor or acting deputy. And then Mr. Nkurunziza should be acting chair of the board. So how prepared are we? Now I'm not asking the deputy governor who may be interested in the position. I'm asking Bank of Uganda.
His Excellency the President knows that my term is coming to an end in April 2025.
and he as appointing authority. That is his prerogative. I'm therefore not going to talk on his behalf. Thank you, Chair.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think, members, let's just go on our knees and pray. One, that the person who does not remember that Professor Mutebile died and he was occupying a high office of governor, at least remembers that a contract for the deputy governor is about to expire. I do not want to speak where I have no evidence. I therefore have no evidence that the president remembers that your contract is expiring in April. We shall pray that the Holy Spirit reminds him and that it finds him in a comfortable zone where he will receive the reminder and act on it. We closed down on this subject. No, we have closed on this. Or on the photograph?
Yes, Chair, you know we are running a competence-based curriculum now.
In the schools?
Yes, and students who want to be competent in Bank of Uganda, they may want to know the structure of the board of directors of Bank of Uganda. So can the deputy governor make a clarification on the structure of the board of directors?
He knows that even if you don't send it to him. He has it, is his document. Okay, make a comment on that.
He's a staff member and therefore not a member of the board.
After all, it's only a photograph, isn't it? She has not masqueraded. Who is the secretary to the board? Yes, who is the bank secretary? I am not trying to give you an entry point, but I know that the secretary to the board, the bank secretary, is the secretary to the board. So appearing somewhere, you see when they say Kosase is here, and they take this photograph, it will include the Webi Wile, who is the clerk. So let's look at the next question. We had you lost some